Hey, what's up, everybody? Hi, happy Thursday. I am just hanging out with my puppies and my baby, and kind of perfect that she doesn't want to go to sleep tonight because she is kind of the main feature, right? Say hi, Eleanor. What up? Hi. Yeah. Yeah, so she is so sweet. I just wanted to talk today, well, tonight, about what to do when you are pregnant and having a baby, but you have fur babies who, you just want to make sure that everything goes smoothly with them. And so I wanted to kind of explain a little bit of the tips and tricks that I did when I was pregnant with my firstborn, who's sleeping in bed right now. She's 2 years old. Her name's Isabella. And so, okay, so when I was pregnant, I definitely was a little nervous because I had rescued two big dogs, and unfortunately, there is such a negative stigma attached to having rescue dogs, whether they're big dogs. I have two pit mixes, so everyone's like, oh, your pit bull's gonna eat your baby. And I'm not kidding. Not joking at all when I say that literally my oldest brother, love you Carl, but told me that he had heard a news story about a pit bull eating a baby alive, something crazy like that. And for many of you who actually rescue pit bulls or have really interaction with them, mostly they're a great family dog. So I have nothing but great things to say. So anyway, unfortunately, when I was pregnant, I did get a lot of negative feedback about, oh, you're gonna have to get rid of your dogs if they don't get along with your child. And so, needless to say, I was really proactive. I was like, I love my fur babies, right, Zoe? Yes. And she little slight tail wag, right? So anyway, when I was pregnant, I would say the most helpful thing that I did was I bought a doll that actually like cried, because dogs are they're really sensitive to our energy, so they just really interpret what we for instance, like with children, right? Kids are screaming, they're excited, and the dog is like, I feel a lot of energy, but I really don't know what that all means, right? And so I thought it was really important to introduce some of those like strange noises and sounds that my dogs would be potentially hearing. So that's definitely, hey, John, hey, what's up? Hanging out nice and late here. Awesome. Thanks for joining. So I thought it would be a really great idea to introduce those noises. And then another thing I did was bring like kind of baby-esque smelling stuff out, which I know sounds weird, but like I would wash when I'd get new clothes and things for the baby to be. I washed everything with like the Dreft laundry detergent, and then I would put like a baby blanket by their bed. So they would kind of start to get used to that kind of smell. And then I would really play the crying baby. It made a lot of cooing noises and that a lot while I was pregnant. So that actually, I would say, was really helpful, because when my baby was born, then it became a matter of kind of like hierarchy, right? Because we just introduced a new a new member to our dog pack. And they really need to know that this little human is like, it's above them, right? Because you don't want your dog, trampling over your kid or not respecting them. So the next thing I did was just really, I let my dogs interact with the baby. I mean, if the baby made a noise, and especially my male dog, Louie, this is Zoe over here. Hi, Zoe. Hi. Hey, girl. So my male dog Louie, he was really weird with noises. He still is. If you introduce a weird noise, his eyes get all dilated and his ears go back, and he's like, "What is that?" So I would really let Louie, go over. Hey, Eleanor, it's right here. I would let Louie go over to the baby and just watch his body language. And that is the next thing that I'd really recommend, is research your dog's body language. Okay, so it's really smart to understand if a dog is curious versus getting uncomfortable to, where they're really kind of anxious. It's not like a good energy. There's a good curiosity, like your dog saying, hey, what's going on? I want to know what this little baby is, what this noise is. And that's good. But if your dog's ears kind of perk up and the hair kind of starts to stand on their back, and you can tell your dog's getting uncomfortable in that way, well, then you have to redirect their energy. And so luckily for me, my dogs, they're pretty chill. They're like, okay, here's this new baby. I never really had issues with hierarchy or dominance, and I think they always just knew, like, this is the baby and we're going to respect that. So you know it's just always really funny. Like, I would have family come over with this new little tiny baby, and my big dog would come barreling over, and I think it's fine. Like, he's okay. He really just wants to look at her or care for her. And that was really, especially with this one, she was really nurturing. So yeah. Hey, Nora's got the squirmy worm tonight. Thanks, Amanda. Hey, she's like, hi, Amanda. So yeah, so the other thing I wanted to just kind of talk about was, now that I have a 2-year-old, things are a little different. So she's got this wild, crazy energy, and she definitely can be a lot for my dogs at times, where they are just like trying to get away from her. And so another thing, it just, there are some parents that are really just like, oh, kids above the dogs all time, like if the dog growls, it's like you yell at the dog. But, if my dog gets uncomfortable and she sends a warning and she kind of is like, hey, and she growls, it's like, I just slowly say, Isabella, I think you got to back off now, because Zoe is telling you that she's played enough right now. She needs a break, because it's important to explain to your children how to properly interact with, their dogs. So that was really important. So what else can I say? Another thing with, especially with, Zoe, was that I'd always have to kind of keep an eye on her, because she would really like kind of want to lick the baby a lot. And so I was never a huge fan of that kind of like nurturing, and I knew it came from a good place. But I think just kind of watching how your dogs interact. I mean, shout out to anybody out here if you have like dogs and babies. I know that there are some people who are like really involved in the rescue community, and they have to like really know how to read their dog's body language, how to really take on the responsibility. And really, if there's anything I can say, is just understanding your dog and making sure that you're reading their body language. I mean, you don't want to make your dog uncomfortable. And now that time goes on, I mean, they really know. So also, dogs, they're in a dog pack, right? So they respond and they create hierarchy. So, I mean, if you ever watch The Dog Whisperer, that's like his big thing, like they need to know that you're the pack leader, so they don't go and, jump all over you or disrespect you, or however you want to say it. So my dogs pretty much know that I'm the leader. Cody's, underneath me. and then it's our children, right? And so if you have a dog, we just recently went over to my brother's house, and he has a 1-year-old yellow lab who's never really been around kids. And the first thing that this lab wanted to do was hump my 2-year-old. So I, just obviously don't let that happen. Don't let your dog, another thing, just don't let your dog, my 2-year-old wants to, we're all going outside, right? Here's an example. So we're all going outside, and my girl dog Zoe, she thinks she's queen bee sometimes, and she'll want to run past or bolt past my children. And so I just tell her, sit, stay and wait. And then I let my children go first, because everything to them is a hierarchy. It's a pack leader. They're part of the pack. So the more times you just sort of let your dog run past your child, or you let your dog, lay all over them, or not respect what my children are doing. Because I mean, just like my dogs get annoyed with my children get annoyed with my dogs. So my daughter Isabella, she's 2 now, and she'll tell them, go, get back, like space. And so making sure that they understand and can respect her space too is really important. So Yeah, but those are just some of the kind of quick things I did. I didn't feel like I had to go too over the top when I was pregnant. I just thought that introducing more of the noises and some of the smells were really the most important thing. And then obviously just really brushing up on your dogs, like body set, body language. Another great tip is if you have friends that have children or young babies, bring them over. Give your dogs a chance to kind of hear some of the noises. I mean, they don't have to like be all over your friend's child, but it's kind of good that they can, kind of be exposed to new experiences, and that's really important for your dog's, mental state of mind, really. So yeah, and it's really been awesome. I mean, these dogs, they're awesome, and they really enjoy having their babies. They love them. So, and I do too. I did just want to touch on a little bit about our $10 coupons that we are giving out for being a part of these lives and our tips and stuff. And I know that Myra was our winner from week 1, right? So thank you, Myra, for that. And then actually for week 2, for when I was in Florida on vacation, it was Terry B that won our $10 coupon. So just expect that we'll be in touch with you. We'll be sending you a message for that. So I know that it's been a little crazy. I was on vacation here, and so we're getting into our moving and grooving again. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I just appreciate you all, and I hope that you found some of these tips kind of helpful for when you have babies that you're introducing to your fur babies. Oh, and okay, I know, I'm not done. So the last thing I want to say is that when I had my children, I went through a stage that my dogs were kind of getting neglected a little bit, and it's really important to, they're part of your family too. And so I've had to be really intentional about taking them for walks and getting them socialized and hanging out with other pups. I used to take my dogs to the dog park all the time, and now we take them for walks, and my 2-year-old likes to hold the leash, and I hold the leash too. Well, she does it, right? And we just kind of really incorporated them into our family. A lot of times people get pregnant, they have babies, and they start to wonder, well, where does my dog fit into all of this? And the answer is like, you made that vow to your pet and to your animal to be a part of your family. And I won't lie, it's not a cakewalk at times. There are times where you can come home and something can be chewed up and your kid's crying and things are crazy. But, when it's all said and done, like, you took an oath to love and care for all of these babies, your fur babies and your not so furry babies. So make sure you take the time to, love on your dogs and take them for walks and play fetch and play with them so they can still feel like they're part of the family, even though you have your babies. And that's really important. And your kids see that too. And that's why it's so important to be the example that you want your children to be involved with your dogs. You want them to pet your dogs and love them and care for them and play with them. Well, they have to see you do that. They have to see, you take your dog for a walk and you love on your dog and pet them. If you yell at your dog all the time, I promise you will hear your 2-year-old yell at your dog. So it's just important to make sure that you give your dogs that time of day once you have children. And it is a lot of work, and it's not easy all the time, but it's worth it. And it's really worth it when you start to see your children love your animals. There's really nothing else that's as heartwarming as that. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. You are fantastic, and I hope you catch the replay. If you're catching this on a replay, drop replay in the comments. And for today, since we're talking about babies and animals, share in the comments how many animals you have, whether it's dog or cats, right? This is kind of focused on dogs introducing to your babies, but how many fur babies you have and not so furry babies that you have, if any. And then if you don't have any, do you plan on it? Do you one day, want to have a baby and introduce them to your animal and your pet? And yeah, so drop that in the comments to be eligible to win a $10 coupon for anything on our website. And I promise that it won't take me 2 weeks to get it to you. So thank you all very much and have an awesome night. Bye.